I have played The Legend of Zelda Twilight Princess since I was 12, and still do it every now and then. I just turn on my Wii U and run through it again, and it seems like every time I do I find some new secret or strange thing I didn't know before. So today I'll try to show off as many of those cool things as I can. Let me point out a few things first. I know there are many videos of this kind, and some of these things I'll show off will make you go like, but everyone knows that! It's not a secret that you can sheath your sword in a cool way after defeating certain enemies. And to that I say, maybe not everyone knows that. And also I want to make this video to sort of document all these obscure things in one place. I went and watched other videos that did the same, and so will inevitably mention some more well-known secrets. I also want to leave out major glitches, as I don't consider them neither a secret nor an oddity. Things like back in time, infinite bomb arrows, glitching through the gates in Orden, and so on. We'll mention a few minor ones, however. Nor will we mention many of the less known lines of dialogue that this game has, unless I find them to be interesting enough.
We of course begin our journey in Orden Village, and this place has a lot of hidden things for you to find that you may not know about. Especially if on repeated playthroughs you're just rushing through this section. There's especially a ton of rupees scattered around to get you up to the 30 required for this link shot. I feel like many will know the 15 rupees you can reach after you knock down the bee's nest, but did you know how to reach this yellow rupee on the cliff? You have to get the hawk to grab a cuckoo and then you can jump over to it. Pretty cool. But if that didn't surprise you, how about the 2 yellow rupees atop Roswell's house? You have to first jump on the signpost and then to the roof to reach them. There's actually an orange rounded rupee behind this house, but you can't get to it until you get the Gale Boomerang, so remember to come back for it later. But there's another obscure purple rupee hidden in a bush near the windmill. Now this one doesn't spawn until you get the green tunic, so don't think of grabbing it early to skip the rupee collection for this link shot. You can either wait until you have the boomerang to get it, or you can carry a cuckoo near the center of town, use a hawk to grab it from this platform and then glide to the spot. Since we talked about cuckoos, hitting cuckoos in this game doesn't summon an infinite swarm of them to harass you, but simply lets you control one for a while. Also, for some reason, if you hit a cuckoo near this wall, it just disappears into it. I don't know what to do with this information. Run out of pumpkins to throw? Just pour some water onto them. Moving on with the game, we get the fishing pole, the slingshot, and our first sword. So it's time to mention a special attack you can do at any time, the roll stab. Basically, if you roll with your sword drawn and swing as you're rolling, you'll end up doing a quick double hand stab. This is actually quite a strong attack, so don't be afraid to try it out sometimes. You can even break the guard of the night enemies later on. Now I'm pretty sure most of you know that if Mayor Bo's outside his house and you talk to him, you can trigger a short event where you can stop a running goat. And also that you can pet it. Now if you go up to the ranch, all goats of course can be pet, but if you strike one with a sword, it gets mad, charges at you, and of course you can stop it like usual. But the weirdest part is you can also wrestle down goats even when they're standing still. After which they'll just get mad as if you hit them. And if you ever wondered what would happen if you tried to visit the ranch as a wolf, well, most goats run away from you, except a select few who will try to ram you from time to time. You can identify those because you can lock onto them. Unfortunately, you can't do much against them as a wolf. In the Faron Woods, you can actually jump on these little platforms that are meant for later as a wolf and reach this area over here. But there's nothing to do in it, so yeah, that's it. You got here, I guess. This one is just a small detail, well known to people who do a glitch to keep the wooden sword beyond what they are supposed to. At the end of the segment where you chase down Tallow through the woods, you are supposed to break him free of the wooden cage by attacking it. Thing is, if you keep the enemies alive, you can have them break the cage for you by baiting them to swing next to it, which I think is pretty neat. Back in Orden, I'm sure most people know about the 50 rupee chest in Link's basement, and the fact that the text box for this specific treasure has a unique text. But have you ever seen the mirror here? If you turn off the lantern, it all goes dark, but you can still see Link's eyes for some reason. At this point, we can get turned into a wolf and play all the way through Hyrule Castle, meet Zelda, steal 10 rupees from her fireplace, and go back to the Olden Spring. At this point you will notice that the tunnel you can use to sneak in the spring is boarded up. Who would do this exactly and why is unknown, but that's how it will stay for the rest of the game. Back in Norden proper, after the Orc attacks us, Link the cat will start following us around. If we slowly drag him near the mayor's house, we can see him attacking the cuckoo nearby. As far as I know, this is one of 2 places in the game where you can see this behavior, with the other one being the hidden village. As we head into our first Twilight area, there's this dig spot early on in the cave that pops you out near the other exit. And now we head straight into the first temple, where we can observe that when we open any door for the first time, some debris falls down from the ceiling, which is a neat detail. Normally, these bomb bugs can be picked up after you hit them or they hit your shield, but there's also a brief window where you can pick them up just before they lunge at you. This next one will start a trend we'll see in other places too, and it's about skipping cutscenes versus not skipping them. You see, if you don't skip the cutscene leading up to this dungeon's mid-boss, the fight begins with 2 plant enemies already aggroed onto you. But if you do skip it, those enemies stay stuck on the ceiling until the boss manages to free them. We'll mention other places where this happens as we go on. A couple of odd things in the boss room after we've defeated it. First, if you grab the heart container with the boomerang and collect it while in water, nothing seems to happen. The cutscene for picking it up is actually delayed until Link touches land. Second, if you come back here later with the Zora armor, you can swim to the bottom of this bottomless pit, only to unfortunately hit a death barrier and be voided out.
While we traverse our second Twilight Zone, we encounter our first Howling Stone. Did you know that after you get teleported to the cliff above the clouds, you could just walk away and leave? There's no point in doing this, but you can. Back to human, we have to save Colin from these guys in one of the best parts of the game. Contrary to popular beliefs, the leader of the bad guys doesn't wait for you at the jousting section. He will get you if you wait long enough on one end of the bridge. On our way to Death Mountain, if you turn around just after entering this area, you can see a weirdly high-resolution mountain skybox. Don't know why they put it there. Now for some stuff with the iron boots. First, rolling into enemies with the boots counts as an attack. A weak one, but it's an attack. Second, put the boots on when you jump off this specific Goron to land on this pipe and score 20 rupees. And third, a Wii version only glitch. If you get caught by a magnetic pull but remove the boots from the item selection before you land, you can just walk on the magnetic surface at full speed. Very useful in this specific room of the dungeon. Before we enter the Goron Mines proper, check out this high ledge with a few yellow rupees on it. Did you know I was here? Still in the Garden Mines, there's this ledge up here that has a chest and you can't reach it without a close shot, meaning you'll have to come back later, and it's just 50 rupees anyway. At the mid-boss, not skipping the intro cutscene spawns Link on the platform, but skipping it spawns him above near the entrance, and you have to jump down to begin the fight. Now that we have the bow, there's a couple cool things. First, you can now one-shot the lizard enemies by shooting them in the mouth when it's open, and 2, you can pick up the arrows stuck in the ground that the enemies are shooting. At the dungeon's boss, you can hide behind a pillar after a damage phase to confuse the boss, who can't find you as easily. With the second dungeon cleared, we move into the bomb shop, where we can see signs prohibiting the use of lanterns. If we pull out our lantern in front of Barnes, he shouts at us to turn it off. But if we go to a place where he can't see us, he just summons water for the same effect. We could have seen this earlier with his slingshot, but shooting arrows at Beth, Malo and Talo makes them dodge the shot. That even happens if they're super far away, like this. After you blow up the rock leading to the back of the spring, you will free 2 cuckoos that will start appearing in town. One of them spawns near the hot spring, and you can use it to reach some ore to reach crates with rupees. Additionally, you can use a cuckoo to reach the top of Renato's house. Then shoot a bomb arrow at the bell to score 200 rupees. As we head out into the next portion of Hyrule Field, you might have a hard time catching the 2 golden bugs here since they move so much. Well, all golden bugs are attracted to the light of the lantern, so you can try to use that to have an easier time. Even the bugs at Agita's castle react the same way, although it serves no practical purpose there. It's not true Link can't breathe underwater without the Zora tunic. Look, I'm going down to this platform with the iron boots and then grab this ledge and Link can breathe just fine in this position. I'm telling you man, that oxygen gauge is a scam. Okay, this is a very obscure one I feel. Now of course you can play fetch with the dog just outside the star minigame, but if you throw the bone in this very specific spot behind the tree, the dog will bring back either 1 rupee or 1 heart. After that, you manually have to pick up the bone again if you want to repeat it. And since we're on the topic of minigames, let's go to Fly by Foul. You can get a funny dialogue if you pay for the minigame and throw all the cuckoos down the lake, where Falby will tell Link to learn to fly bruh. Also, if you climb up to the 2nd floor and hit this thing with a Gale Boomerang, you will stop the rotating platform with the 100 rupee chest, making the minigame slightly easier. There are several places around Hyrule where you can see a storm of crows flying in circles. Defeating all of them nets you a variable amount of rupees. Once we get water bombs, we can blow up this boulder in Kakariko Graveyard for a quick shortcut to Lake Hylia, where the next dungeon is located. It's a shame we can't use this backwards as the current is too strong here and Link is pushed away. And since we're now swimming, I'm going to point out a seemingly obvious thing. If you mash A while swimming with the Zora armor, you swim faster. I'm only including this one because I've seen at least 2 people playing through the entire game without knowing this was a thing. In Lake Bed Temple, it's actually possible to give a better look at the frog mid-boss if you don't move after climbing out of the water. How many of you had tried to explore the circular water room that surrounds the central room? This place is huge, but you never have to come here at all. There aren't even any chests here. There are some enemies and pots with rupees I guess, but other than that, there's just nothing. I'm not criticizing it mind you, I'm just saying that probably the majority of players would never think of exploring it in the first place. Something with the claw shot. As you're hanging from the ceiling you can move up and down, but if you're wearing the iron boots you'll be slower on the ascent and faster on the descent due to the increased weight. Now take a wooden box, drop it near some schoolfish and watch them go nuts on the box. Also, never pick up those boxes again after you put them in water. The game doesn't really know what to do with it. Now, time for a fun skip you can do to spice up this temple. And it's not even that hard to do. Once you get the close shot, you're supposed to head to the other end of the dungeon to unlock the second water flow and get the big key. Well, you can skip unlocking the water flow with some precise jumps, as you can see here. I suggest use the first person view mode to line up your jumps if you're having trouble. And after you recover the big key, you can just drop from the chandelier in the center of the room and you'll be right next to the boss door. Cool! With 3 bosses down, it's time to get the Master Sword, and with it, we can finally fast travel at will. So let's head over to Zora's domain to see what cool things we can do there. In the domain itself, there's a Zora at the bottom that lets you ride with him up the waterfall. Down at the junction, we can enter the fishing hole. Inside Hannah's hut, we can roll into things, and eventually Hannah will kick us out of the shop and force us to apologize upon re-entry. A similar thing can happen if we blast Isa's spot in her hut, before we initiate the minigame. This time we can choose whether to pay up for the damage or not, but we won't be able to play the minigame until we finally do. As a funny addendum to this, you can actually shoot the spot after the minigame begins. Just start turning around as soon as possible and make your way up the river. Shooting the pot in this state only plays the sound effect, but if you wait a while, after a seemingly random amount of time, yeah, it crashed. Back in the fishing hole, here's another art piece that can be grabbed while swimming, and it behaves exactly as the art container in the first boss's arena. As we explore the world looking for art pieces, we will inevitably enter this cave which resembles the Goron mines. And this is a good chance to point out that these lizards can eat bombs which kills them instantly. It's a bit easier if you use bomb blinks though. Also, because the Zora armor makes you take 10 times damage from fire and ice, jumping in the lava, which would usually result in 2 hearts of damage, is now an insta-kill. You can only survive it if you have a fairy with you. Since we just mentioned bombs, let's keep it bomb related for the next one. Now there are a lot of caves you can find around Hyrule as a wolf, and most of them contain colored shoes or some random enemy group. There's one in Hyrule Field south of the Elden Bridge that contains a pond with bombfish, and if you have enough patience, you can fish them up over and over until you fill up all your bomb bags. For more detail, check out this video I made on the bombfish and how to fish them up, since they might prove quite challenging if you don't know the trick to make them bite the hook. You know how the Postman can be found in various locations like Ordon Ranch, Cave of Ordeals, Zora's Domain, and so on? Did you know he's in this minigame? It's extremely hard to see, but he's actually standing below this bridge in the early portion of the canyon. Yep, it's him alright. Next on our list of creepy things to do, if we go to Link's house as a wolf, Midna does not get reflected in the mirror. Spooky. And finally, if you stroll into Castle Town as a wolf, you'll eventually draw the attention of all the town's guards. Do a B-spin attack and they will release rupees. It doesn't work with a regular spin attack for some reason. We're moving on to the Arbiter's Ground now, and we should be getting the Mortal Draw at this point. But did you know there's actually 3 Mortal Draws? There's the normal one, just press A, but you can do a faster one if you tap the stick toward the enemy. This version actually has more recovery frames than the standard Mortal Draw, meaning it will take slightly longer for you to regain control of Link. And the third version you can do out of a roll and it's lightning fast, but it's very hard to perform. As you approach the last enemy in the encampment, if you look in the skies above, you can spot a flying rotating key. This is the actual key that the enemy drops upon death. The one he has on his belt is just an integral part of the character model. In front of the entrance of Arbiter's Ground, you can climb on these 2 small platforms, but if you do that, you get instantly voided out for some reason. If you ever wondered what would happen if you tried to walk on quicksands with the iron boots, well, here's your answer. Tired of these bugs slowing you down? They are scared of the lantern's light. Pull it out and it will leave you alone. And now, it's time for Extremely Niche Fun Facts about the spinner number 1. You can use it to negate full damage entirely. Number 2. If you hold the B button, instead of just tapping it, you can spin on the spot and pivot left and right, which helps you find a good direction. Number 3. It can destroy the spike traps. It's never actually useful, but it can do it. There's actually another niche you'll use later on, but we'll get to it when time is due. Man, I didn't even start this fight and things are already breaking apart? At the beginning of the Stellar fight, there's another instance of skipping the intro cutscene changes things. If we don't skip it, we spawn in front of the boss. If we do skip it, we start closer to the door instead. Here's a funny glitch you can do. As soon as phase 1 of this fight is over, try to wear the iron boots as soon as you gain control. You will void out, lose a heart, and phase 1 will restart, only the sand is gone and... yeah. This doesn't break anything though, and you can just walk to Stellar's spine and defeat it again as normal. It also seems to be a Wii version exclusive glitch. There's nothing else until we hit Snow Peak, so let us have a chat with Best Waifu, catch ourselves a fish, and do some snowboarding. Once we reach the mid-boss here, all we need is a mortal draw with the Master Sword and it dies in one hit. Yup. Then for some reason the ball and chain can pick up heart containers? Don't know why, but it can. We skip straight to the Temple of Time now, where we can use our new item to ring the bells. The already lifted ones drop 20 rupees each, except 2 that drop a fairy instead. If you use the spinner on the scales, you can traverse them without weighting them down, since the game considers you airborne while on the spinner. Want to spice up the boss's phase too? Try pulling the ice spider toward you with the claw shot for some laughs, or try killing it by rolling with the iron boots. You can also try to kill it by using the punching statues. Unfortunately, City in the Sky has nothing to talk about, so let's talk about something completely unrelated. Link's grunts when he swings the sword are actually different depending whether he's in combat or not. Listen to this series of jump attacks. Now listen to these ones instead. Nothing else in City in the Sky, other than you can cause the dormant magic armor to ground the boss, since it basically gives you weight like the iron boots do. And nothing in the Palace of Twilight either, so let's just complete the Cave of Ordeals and get ready to fight Ganondorf. Actually, there are some hidden rupees here at the start of Hyrule Castle if you shoot the statue. This is a good time to mention that fairies in the springs will rest on Link if you idle in that area long enough. Also, the Cave of Ordeals is the only place in the game where you can get a green shoe jelly. You have to carefully fuse a blue and yellow to do it, but it's possible. Unfortunately, the green jelly is a dummied out item from the time when this game was supposed to have a magic meter, so it does absolutely nothing. Alright, let's fight Zelda! While you can bounce the energy balls back with the sword, you can also swing an empty bottle. A cool reference to Ocarina of Time. The next two are pretty infamous, but I have to include that using the fishing pole on Ganondorf distracts him enough to get an easy opening, and that putting on the iron boots for the final blow as Link running up the hill with them in the credits. And that's it, honestly. I hope you liked the video. Leave a like if you did, dislike it if you didn't, not that it matters since dislikes don't show up anymore. I hope you learned something new about Twilight Princess, and as usual, see you in the next one.